India have been pinned to the wall in the ongoing Headingley test in Leeds. After being bundled out for 78 runs, India are now way behind in the test match. Courtesy of fine century by Joe Root, India need to find their way out of this muddle they have created for themselves. Even though Joe Root is scoring centuries, the focus has been on Virat Kohli and his leadership, even though he is not scoring runs. Joe Root has now 6 centuries in 2021 as he continues to be the standalone batsman in the English batting unit. I am Shubhayan Chakravarti and joining me is cricket data analyst Nikhil Narayan. Nikhil, the main focus of debate, the discussion has been around Virat Kohli during this tour. He is not scoring runs and their own captain Joe Root has been scoring runs for fun. What do you think is the reason behind this difference between Joe Root and Virat Kohli?
I think the main reason for this is the difference in personalities. Virat Kohli is a flamboyant batsman. Virat Kohli loves the limelight. Virat Kohli wants to be in the headlines. Virat Kohli is vocal. Virat Kohli is animated. Joe Root is very old school English, understated, quiet, reserved, calm. So even when he's scoring runs, you don't get to know that he's scoring runs. Virat Kohli, even if he's not scoring runs, everyone wants to talk about him. He gets eyeballs. So I think the difference in personalities is the reason why Joe Root, while he's scoring runs in the form of his life, is not in the headlines, while Virat Kohli, who's not scoring runs, is in the limelight even when he is, in the worst phase of his career.
So can you shed some light on the Virat Kohli and Joe Root comparison? How are the numbers if we talk about these two?
Joe Root has almost scored 1400 runs this year, 600s. Average is almost 70. Failure rate is barely 38%. Virat Kohli is in the worst phase of his career. He's averaging not even 25. He's not even scored 300 runs. His failure rate is 50%, which means he's failing in every second he's batting in 2021. So, I mean, there is no comparison actually. Now, Joe Root currently is the number 1 in the Fab 4. Virat Kohli currently is not in the Fab 4.
Yeah, I remember during 2019, Joe Root was going through arguably his toughest phase in his batting career. His average was somewhere around 27. And since then, since the November 2019 phase, he has just turned around miraculously when it comes to his batting. He now averages more than 50 in test format, which is great. Not many batsmen have 50 average. So how does Joe Root's numbers stack up in 2021 when we talk about his matches against India?
Correct. So, Joe Root, since you mentioned averages, is the only English batsman amongst their 10 highest run scorers who has an average of above 50. So, and there are some great names out there. So, this shows that, how good Joe Root has been. In terms of his numbers against India, Joe Root has a stunning record against India. He scored almost 2,300 runs in 41 innings against them at an average of 62 with 800s against India, which is a record. He shares with legends like Gary Sobers, Viv Richards, Ricky Ponting and Stephen Smith. No one else has scored more than 800s against India. So his record against India is absolutely stunning.
So, talking about Joe Root, obviously he has made some technical changes to his batting. His elbow is much straighter now. He's not shuffling as much after an advice by former England captain who sadly passed away a couple of days back, Ted Dexter. So he had asked him to play the waiting game. So since that waiting game has come into play now, where does Joe Root stand among the legends?
See, this whole thing about temperament and mental fortitude is very important, especially in today's day and age. Joe Root has been patient, and that has paid off. In an age where T20 cricket and IPLs and all sorts of and the 100 are dominating, Joe Root is an old school classical batsman who's blossoming in Test cricket, and this quality of being patient, preserving his wicket, helped him to score 2 under pressure hundreds at Trent Bridge and Lords, and then when he got the start from his openers in this test, he dominated the Indian attack and scored at a much faster strike rate, above 70. He got more boundaries. So it's all coming from that very classical old school batsman thought of preserving your wicket, not giving it away, and it just shows when other England players like Ben Stokes, for example, are not playing the game because of mental health reasons. Joe Root here has, overcome all that. He's not only scoring runs, but he's scoring big runs now. Yeah. So it's credit to him.
You just mentioned he's scoring big runs, but when we talk about Joe Root, the conversion rate of his past records come into the foray. We always, whenever we talked about Fab Four, Kane Williamson, Steve Smith, Virat Kohli, we talked about big runs. Right. But somewhere in past, Joe Root missed that conversion rate. He couldn't convert the starts, his 50s into 100s. So now, where does his conversion rate stands?
Correct. I mean, till as late as end of 2020, he was way below in terms of conversion rate, in terms of 50 to 100 conversion rate. Virat Kohli was right up there, then it was Steven Smith, Kane Williamson, and at number 4 was Joe Root. But now, since 2021, he has scored 600s and he has crossed 50 7 times. So basically, that's a conversion rate of 85%. So basically, more or less, whenever Joe Root crosses 50, expect a big 100. I mean, that is miraculous.
And what cue should Indian players take out of it? Because the pitch right now in Headingley is flat. It is good for batting. The sun is out. The sun is glaring down the pitch. So how can the Indian batsmen come into the play and score big runs, because they are in a very, very big trouble right now?
So in most third innings, runs are also important. But India is so far behind in this match. I think they'll be behind 400 behind by the time England declare or are bowled out. India has to learn from Joe Root. The wicket is not that tough. It will be good for batting. Sunlight is predicted throughout the day. We need a good start from Rahul and Rohit Sharma. Yeah. And India just need to preserve the wicket. You do have to sort of bide your time. Pujara's position becomes very important here. And it is high time that Virat Kohli, who hasn't scored an international 100 for 50 innings now, comes good. Because, I mean, this is what makes a batsman, this is what makes a captain. I mean, Ajinkya Rahane did it at MCG last year. Yeah. This innings could define Virat Kohli. If India succumb to an innings and 250 runs defeat, I mean, they may go on to lose the series. But if India can save this match, I mean, it will be a miracle. But if they can do it, I mean, so, let's see what happens.
It will be a historic achievement if India can manage to save this test. But to end on Joe Root, which quality stands out according to you? Which quality of Joe Root stands out according to you?
I think his ability to bide his time initially, patience, not go after the bowling, play close to his body, not play much outside the off stump, and so basically the quality of attaching a big price on his wicket, which all the Indian top order, at least in the first innings at Leeds, did not show. I mean, that quality of Joe Root stands out the most.
So I think Joe Root has done his job. He has phenomenally put England into a solid position, and England are looking really, really good to go on and win this test. The English skipper has done his job. He has put his team into the front foot, and now all eyes will be on his Indian counterpart Virat Kohli. Can he get a big score, which all his fans are waiting since 2019? Thank you for watching News 9 Digital.